Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the SWUS. We are officially into week 11 already of the NFL season, and I got a good one here. Ravens Steelers in Pittsburgh. Let's do it.
Welcome to the SWUS. The SWUS. SWUS. Hey, get the SWUS.
All right, like I said, Baltimore's on the road in Pittsburgh for this one. The Steelers are catching 3. It looks like all the 3.5s are gone. This one was at 3.5, but they are long gone. We're looking at 3 across the board here. Total sitting at 48.5, or actually I'm seeing a lot of 48s now. So let's go ahead and get into this matchup, and we'll start with some head-to-head history. Pittsburgh's had no problems playing this Ravens team in Baltimore. In their last 7 trips to Baltimore, they're 6-1 straight up and 6-1 against the spread. At home, however, just 5-5 straight up, 6-2 against the spread. So in this head-to-head rivalry, the road team has been more successful. However, in terms of recent history, it's been all Steelers. They're 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 matchups against the Ravens, 7-1 straight up. Asterisk here, Lamar Jackson has sat out a lot of these games. Lamar Jackson only has 4 career starts against the Steelers, surprisingly enough. He's only played 4 games against Pittsburgh in his career somehow. But yeah, in the last 8 matchups, it's been all Steelers. The Steelers are the Achilles heel of the Baltimore Ravens. This game is going to be a battle of grit. Prop Eater even went as far to call it a grit off. So what do we think about this matchup? We'll start with the Ravens offense against the Steelers defense. Pretty elite matchup here. Baltimore offensively, first in yards per play, first in success rate, first in EPA, first in DVOA, first across the board in terms of passing numbers, pretty much first in rushing as well. I mean, first, fourth, third, and second. So on paper, this has been the best offense in the NFL so far this season, but they're going to have their hands full here on the road in Pittsburgh because the Steelers defense is not a joke. 7th in yards per play allowed, 10th in success rate. Look at their numbers against the run. 3rd in yards per carry, 11th in success rate per rush, 5th in EPA, 9th in DVOA. Pretty damn good numbers against the pass as well. So this is going to be a pretty elite matchup here. We'll start with this angle right here. The Steelers defense does not blitz. They're 28th in blitz rate. Lamar Jackson significantly better when not blitzed. 1st in yards per attempt, 1st in pass rating, 12th in big time throw rate, 5th in turnover-worthy play rate when not blitzed. So you look at these numbers, and this seems like a positive angle for Lamar Jackson. But the thing is, look at the right side of this graphic. Steelers, 30th in pressure rate. Now that doesn't make sense. How are the Steelers 30th in pressure rate? Check this out. So opposing quarterbacks against the Steelers are getting rid of the football in just 2.38 seconds per dropback, which is the fastest in the NFL. If you look at the Steelers' time to pressure, it's also 2.38 seconds exactly, which is 4th in the NFL. So that graphic before says the Steelers are 30th in pressure rate. Yes, that's true. They don't record a lot of pressures because teams come in and literally game plan on getting rid of the ball quickly. The Steelers' pass rush is so good that opposing quarterbacks, opposing offenses come in with a specific game plan to get the ball out fast. Why is that so important? Well, because Lamar Jackson averages 4.41 seconds before he throws the ball, 38th amongst 38 qualified quarterbacks. So no quarterback in the NFL holds on to the ball longer than Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson averages 4.41 seconds before he releases the football. Steelers average 2.38 seconds before their pressure gets there. That's not going to work. Lamar Jackson is releasing the football over 2 seconds after the Steelers' pressure arrived. So we look at this graphic again. Lamar Jackson's excellent when not blitzed, but the Steelers' defense might be a rare exception. Yeah, they don't blitz a lot, but they're still getting to the quarterback in 2.38 seconds, one of the fastest in the NFL, and they're doing it without sending extra rushers. So although you look at this, and this might look like a positive angle for Lamar Jackson, I don't like it, which is why he has really struggled against the Steelers. Through his 4 career starts against the Steelers, he's completing just 58.8% of his passes, 4 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. He's getting sacked an average of 5 times a game, taking 5 sacks a game in his 4 starts against the Steelers, an average passer rating of 66.3. So he's been terrible in his games against the Steelers. This pass rush always gives Lamar Jackson problems because he holds on to the football for so long. Now, the good news for Lamar Jackson, Alex Highsmith is out. So you might be looking at that thinking, okay, they can now double team TJ Watt. But hold on, the Steelers just added Preston Smith, so I don't know if they're able to double team TJ Watt in this one. Preston Smith's pretty good, so even though Alex Highsmith is out and that hurts, the Steelers pass rush is still going to be a problem. Now, I do have some good news for you if you're trying to back Lamar Jackson in this game. Steelers defense runs a lot of cover 3, 44.1% of the time. That's third most in the NFL. Lamar Jackson might be the best quarterback in the NFL throwing the ball in cover 3. 10th in completion percentage, first in yards per pass attempt, first in passer rating. So he has carved up cover 3. What happened the last time Lamar Jackson saw a defense that ran a shitload of cover 3? It was the Tampa Bay Bucks. They're second in cover 3 frequency. Lamar Jackson went absolutely nuclear in that matchup. 17 of 22, 281 yards, 5 touchdowns, passer rating over 158. Looking like a college football passer rating there. So the Steelers run a ton of cover 3. Lamar Jackson, excellent numbers against cover 3. The last time he saw a defense that runs cover 3, he went off. Here's the problem with that. Bucks don't have a pass rush. Steelers have arguably the best pass rush in the NFL. Is Lamar Jackson going to have the time to carve up this cover 3? Another question we have to ask, is Lamar Jackson going to have run support in this game? Now, I will say I'm not too worried about the last 2 games. I mean, the last 2 games, Baltimore's rushing attack didn't look great. Just 114 rushing yards per game, success rate per rush under 40%, 3.9 yards per carry. That was against Denver and Cincinnati. I'm not too worried about 2 games. We've seen this rushing attack look absolutely dominant. In their first 8 games, they're averaging 200 rushing yards a game. So I'm not really concerned with the last 2 games. That being said, nobody is running the ball in the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. In the last 5 games, they're allowing just 87.4 rushing yards per game, 3.9 yards per carry, success rate per rush down at 41.1%. The addition of Patrick Queen to that defense was perfect. This is one of the best run defenses in the NFL. So I don't expect the Ravens to snap their little rushing slump that they've been in for the last couple of games here. Steelers should be able to stop the Ravens rushing attack. Another thing, Baltimore does a lot of gap concept blocking schemes, 10th most in the NFL. That plays directly into the strength of the Steelers defense. They're actually one of the best defenses in the NFL when it comes to gap concept blocking schemes, second in yards per carry, second in success rate. So as a whole on this side of the ball, I know the Ravens have looked like the best offense in the NFL so far this year. I don't like this matchup at all for him. I mean, this is a Steelers defense that always seems to give Lamar Jackson all types of problems. I don't know if the run game's going to be there. This is a pretty tough matchup for the Ravens offensively. But what about on the other side? Let's talk about the matchup for the Steelers offense, who should also be in a situation here. Steelers offensively, they have looked better recently with Russell Wilson. Still just 20th in yards per play, 19th in success rate. The run game for the Steelers has been really disappointing this year. 23rd in yards per carry, 22nd in success rate per rush. After what we saw the second half of last year, adding Arthur Smith, we expected the Steelers to have a dramatically improved rushing attack this year, and it just hasn't been there, and it's probably not going to be there in this one. The offensive line is still banged up, and the Ravens probably are the best run defense in the NFL. They're first in yards per carry allowed, first in success rate per rush. The Steelers' battered offensive line is dramatically outmatched here. If you look at the offensive line metrics for the Steelers in comparison to the defensive line metrics for the Ravens, I mean, it's not even a discussion. I don't know how this injured Steelers offensive line is able to generate push in this game. And like I said, the Steelers are still dealing with these injuries. There's still no James Daniels at right guard. There's still no Fautanu. I always say his name wrong. There's still no Fautanu at right tackle. Also, Najee Harris might not even play in this game. He's listed as questionable. So I don't know how we're expecting the Steelers to run the ball in this game. They haven't been able to really run the ball all year, and nobody's running the ball on Baltimore. Now, the good news, Michael Pierce is still out for Baltimore, but still, even without Michael Pierce, this Ravens defensive line, the defensive front is just loaded. Very physical. The Steelers aren't going to be able to run the ball in this game. Now, what about the matchup for Russell Wilson throwing the ball? All right, so we'll start with this graphic right here. Russell Wilson's numbers against 2 high safety looks versus single high safety looks. As you can see, dramatically better against single high safety looks. 29th in completion percentage, second in yards per pass attempt, second in passer rating, first in big time throw rate. So he's made a lot of big throws against single high safety looks. Against 2 high safety looks, it's been the exact opposite. Look at the big time throw rate. First versus single high safety looks, 42nd, well tied for 42nd versus 2 high safety looks. That's amongst 42 qualified quarterbacks. So that's dead last. First against single high safety looks, tied for dead last against 2 high safety looks. The Ravens run 2 high safety looks at a 47% frequency. That's 10th most in the NFL. And you might be looking at this saying, Kyle, 10th? That's like slightly above league average. That's not even a lot. Well, Russell Wilson's 2 starts so far were against the Jets and the Giants, both top 10 in single high safety frequency. So although the Ravens don't run a ton of 2 high safety looks, they're 10th, 47%, it's still a lot more than Russell Wilson has seen up until this point, and he's been pretty bad against 2 high safety looks. Also, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore doesn't blitz much. Just 20th in blitz rate so far this year. Russell Wilson significantly better when blitzed. First in yards per pass attempt, 10th in PFF passer grade, first in big time throw rate, second in passer rating when blitzed. When he's not blitzed, the numbers don't look good at all. 16th, 30th, 39th, and 14th. So up to this point, looking like a rough matchup for Russell Wilson. That being said, I do have some positive angles for Russell Wilson in this game. So if you're betting the Steelers or plan on betting the Steelers, I have something for you here. Russell Wilson throws a beautiful deep pass, and that's dating back to his days with Seattle. He throws it a lot, too. 17.6% of Russell Wilson's pass attempts this year have been considered deep passes. That's a lot. That might be the most in the NFL. He throws the deep ball a lot. That plays directly into the weakness of this Baltimore defense. They have really struggled limiting the big downfield passes, and Russell Wilson throws a lot of them, and he's very accurate with it. Look at his DVOA, his passer rating on those deep passes towards the top of the NFL. So you definitely don't like that if you plan on betting Baltimore here. Also, Baltimore does not generate a lot of pressure. Baltimore does not have the best pass rush. They're 20th in pressure rate so far this year. Look at Russell Wilson's numbers this year when given a clean pocket. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, granted a very small sample size. When given a clean pocket, he's 5th in yards per attempt, 2nd in passer rating, 1st in turnover-worthy play rate at 0%. He hasn't thrown a single turnover-worthy play. A play includes throws and potential fumbles. 0% turnover-worthy play rate when given a clean pocket. Russell Wilson has been an assassin from a clean pocket, and like I said, Ravens do not have the best pass rush. Now, the Steelers' offensive line isn't great, so I'm sure they will be able to generate some pressure, but no question, Russell Wilson is going to have some clean pockets to throw from in this game. He likes to throw the deep ball, and the Ravens have struggled against the deep pass. So if you're betting Baltimore, you definitely don't like that. That being said, I think Harbaugh is going to be prepared for that with the battered offensive line from the Steelers. The run game is not much of a threat, so I think Harbaugh is going to be prepared to limit those big throws downfield personally. As a whole on this side of the ball, if I'm being honest, I don't really like the matchup for the Steelers offense. The run game's going to be non-existent. Sure, Russell Wilson is going to have opportunities to make some throws, and I'm sure he makes some of them, but as a whole, I don't think the Steelers are going to be able to consistently move the ball up and down the field on the Ravens, which brings us to the bet. How about a trend first? 7 straight unders. Like I said, this is the battle of the grit. This is a grit battle here. 7 straight unders in Baltimore Pittsburgh game. So why are we betting against the trend? I'm not. I'm in. 7 straight unders. I'm in. Give me the under at 48.5. Now, if I'm being honest, I'm not betting the under because of the trend. I kind of could care less about the trend. I truly do like the matchup for both of these defenses. I think both offenses are really going to struggle to run the ball. I think both offenses are going to try to stay diligent and run the ball. So I expect the clock to be running, a lot of punts. I think it's an under game, honestly. 48.5 is a crazy total for a Ravens-Steelers game. I do understand why the total's so high, and I also understand your hesitation of betting an under in a Baltimore Ravens game. They're like 7-1 to the over this year. But this particular matchup, it's always a grit battle. It's the grit off. Give me the under, 48.5. Also, chance of rain. I say this a little bit tongue-in-cheek. I don't think it's going to rain. It's like a 15% chance. Just throwing it out there. I'm recording this on Tuesday night. Maybe as we get closer to the weekend, the weather changes. If I get some rain, I would love an under at 48.5. But I already bet it. I'm in. Give me the under 48.5. If you'd like to see all the bets I currently have open for this weekend, head over to KyleKirms.com and click on Open Bets. Live show 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the weekdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on college football Saturdays, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on NFL Sundays. If you're able to make it, we'd love to see you in the comments. Let's have ourselves a nice week. Please remember to bet responsibly. Hit me up in the Discord if you need me.